Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our channel. So I'm going to try to look the right direction this morning, but I'm a little bit excited about this video. So if I look off, just follow me wherever I am. So I wanted to thank you guys for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shakema. Feel free to subscribe, hit the little bell. That way you never miss an upload from us. I do try to upload quite regularly. I'm a single mom raising 2 kids at home. I already have 2 adult children that no longer live at home. And I am a teacher. We have a fur baby. We love her very much. But I live on one single income. I'm a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, which I took about 7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago when Jackson was a little baby. My baby son is Jackson. And I was able to take Financial Peace University. Since that class, I've been budgeting every single month, trying to get my family on good financial footing. So I wanted to share this video as a tag video to the July budget that I posted yesterday. And I want to first say thank you so much for all the kind words and the prayers. That means more to me than anything else, more than people would ever know. When I started this journey, I started out as I was married at the time, not when I started the class. When I started the whole journey that I'm on now, I started out, I was married, but my husband at the time did not want to be a part of this family. He was finding it very difficult to be a part of the things I wanted to do as far as a family. And the financial pressure and burden was so great to him. And I get it. I mean, I'm a single mom now. I'm living off one income. I get it. We had 2 incomes at the time, and we were still struggling. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul, just struggling. We loved each other. We loved our kids. It wasn't any of that. But at some point, the pressure of the finances and making it all work and having enough to pay this bill and having enough to pay that bill and getting groceries and the kids needing stuff was just too great for him. And all of a sudden one day, Jackson was about 4 months old. He came out of the master bedroom. He had a little gray bag over his shoulder, embarrassed, totally embarrassed. The kids and I are just laughing. We're in the living room hanging out, my 3 younger kids, because my older daughter was already gone from home by then. We're just laughing, having a good time. I just had a baby, and I know he was at the height of embarrassment, and he just walked out the front door and he never came back. And I remember being so distraught, and it wasn't distressing that he left. It was, God, how am I going to feed my kids? Him leaving didn't change anything. There was turmoil in our marriage. So that wasn't, maybe we needed that pressure valve of release. Maybe he needed to do what he did. I can't say that was the right choice. I can't say it was the wrong choice. I can say it was his choice. But my concern was, God, how am I going to feed my children? And I remember in that moment, I was sitting at my kitchen table, and God said to me in one specific word, coupons. And that was it. I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to pray. How am I going to, I'm looking at I got my budget, I got the bills, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, what can I not, what can I not pay to be able to have groceries? And again, God was very specific. He said coupons. And that was it. That no revelation, no download, no nothing. Coupons. And I said, okay, God. Okay. I heard him. And shortly after that, they were doing a class at my church called Financial Peace University. It was going to cost $100 to get into the class. And I didn't have $100. And if I did have $100, it was definitely not to take a class. And I kept praying. I said, Lord, I need this class. Lord, I need this class. Out of nowhere, miraculously, because that's the only way that I can tell you it was happening, the Lord allowed me to get $100. And I could have fed my kids. That was the priority. But my kids were not starving. Okay, understand that. We had food in the fridge, but when you are in a crisis situation, the only thing you can think of is the thing that would concern you the most. And for me, that was groceries. You know, how am I going to feed these kids, even though there was food in the fridge? So I got the $100. I was able to take Financial Peace University. And a lot of people would say, but you should have taken that $100 and fed your kids. In the long run, 8 years later, 7, 8 years later, my kids eat better now than they ever ate if I would have spent that $100 on groceries. So I had to make a better investment. So I share all that as a prelude to this video, which is a tag on to my yesterday's video, my July 2018 budget. If you look at the numbers, we're about $932.68 in the red. We're not operating in the black according to what's on paper or what's on my computer. And a lot of people would feel, you know, that pressure rising, because money is the one thing that is going to put you under a lot of pressure. It's one thing. There are many things. And a lot of people stress out over different things. And I was thinking about it, and I almost went back and looked at my July budget from last year. And if I'm going to go back and look for that budget, and I'm going to link it somewhere, either over here as an iCard, or I'll link it in the description box below. Because where I am July 2018 is clearly not where I was in July 2017. And I have more peace today than I had then. And I was peaceful then. But the peace comes from knowing Jesus as my provider, as my sole provider. And again, if you've been following me and my kids and my journey for any length of time, all I have done or tried to do in everything I've done is represent the Lord. Jesus is the head of my life. He is the Lord over my finances. He is the Lord over my spending habits. He is the Lord in this house. And my children understand that. I understand that. And that's how we live our lives. I wanted to thank everyone who was commenting. We're praying for you. See, that's the most important thing you can do for my finances, is pray for them. Now, there are supernatural miracles that God works out, and He does cause men to give unto your bosom and that type of thing. I've been on the other end of that, knowing somebody had a need and I had finances to give to them. I'm going to link, if I can, for you a video from Sarah over at Our Tribe of Many. She actually did her 4th week pantry recap. She was doing a pantry challenge this month, and she was wanting to save money prayerfully to put that extra money towards buying a half a cow, and she or half a pig, or she wanted to buy some meat for her freezer like they have done in the past. And she mentioned how they had saved over $900, and they were, her and her husband were sitting there thinking, okay, we're getting ready to get our cow, and a need came up before before them, and maybe before a lot of people. I don't know if it was just them specific or multiple people, of a family that they knew that was fairly close to them that needed, a blessing. And she said her and her husband knew immediately, yeah, we saved this money so we could buy this half a cow, but God's presenting us with an opportunity. And her and her husband sowed that financial blessing into that family. And she said within, I don't know if she said 2 days or 2 weeks, but I think it was closer to 2 days. And it's in the video. You'll just have to watch it. The Lord blessed them with a financial blessing that was more than what they gave. See, I believe in God. I believe in Ephesians 3:20 and 21, who says, now unto Him who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we could ask or think. Nothing I could dream up in my mind. If I could dream up 5 freezers full of food, God can, His provision and abundance is more than 5 freezers full of food. He has people waiting in line to bless me for 5 years worth of 5 freezers full of food. I can't even think up the things that He has for me, but He has them out there, and I recognize that. So on paper, it looks dreary, it looked dismal, it looks like, oh my God, Shakema, I have had someone say, is Taekwondo a need or a want? right now it's a need. I need my 14-year-old who is needing that physical activity to go to Taekwondo as many days as she does. It's the only physical activity my kids get. They don't do Little League. They don't do church sports. They don't do nothing because I can't get them from this place to that place. I'm a single mom. I can only go to one place at a time, and that's it for us. It helps me be able to drop them off in a safe environment. They can stay there for 2 and 3 hours. And it allows me to head to my gym, which is just up the street, and I can get my exercise that I need for my physical well-being. It gives them their friend group. They homeschool, and they homeschool in a very small community. So they need that friend group. In their school, it's 2 students, Alana and Jackson, that's it. They have a homeschool community of, others we know that homeschool. But in their school, it's just the 2 of them. So by going to Taekwondo, they get their friend group. Alana has kids her age, 14, 13, 15, 16. Jackson has kids his age, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then they're on a travel team or a mixed, special teams is what it's called. It's not really a travel team because we don't travel together and compete. They compete together here. But it's a mixed group in all ages, 9, 8, 7, 15, I think is the oldest. Alana's 14 and a half. So they have that. So for us, that $325, although it could pay for groceries, it doesn't add to the well-being of my children and their social needs. So I leave that in the budget because it's something that's going to benefit them in their future journey. I want to go to the worship conference, and someone asked or said, I would pay groceries before I would go to the worship conference. Odds are I won't make the conference this year, but I just put it in there because I needed to see, Shakema, this is what you're dealing with. If everything you need to get done has to get done, then this is the numbers. If I don't put it in there and then it pops up on me like, okay, I remember now that I was wanting to go to this. I don't know ahead. The best thing I can tell people in your budgeting is be proactive, not reactive in any life situation. Know what you're facing ahead of time. The Bible tells us in Habakkuk 2, write the vision and make it plain. Write the budget, make it plain. So you and your spouse, you and your partner, you and your family, because it's me and my kids, know what you're dealing with. Will every box get checked this month? I don't know. But I'm going to have them up there so I'll know it needs checking and not think backwards like, oh my God, I really forgot that I had this. If it's on the budget, then I know. There are some things that can be shifted. There's some things that I know I can move to another time. There's some things that cannot be moved at all and must be paid. But let me tell you how good God is. And then, a couple other people say, I get so stressed. I used to get stressed out about money. And I'm not telling you that I'm enjoying this month because it is tighter than I've been in a long time. But I know that God's going to come in and do what only He can do. And if I get dependent on people, then when they don't come through, I'm going to be let down. So I choose to lean and rely and cling to the Lord because He's never let me down. The Word says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging for bread. How good of God to say that. Begging for bread, which is what hungry people do. My kids and I have never been hungry a day in our life. Never. Even when we were at our last. I was married and I remember my ex-husband and I opening up the freezer and we had 1 pack of meat left. 1. And we were on food stamps at the time. I was married and on food stamps. And for some reason they just didn't come. They didn't come. And I was just getting ready to get dressed to go to the church and ask them if they could help us with groceries for this one time, because I was proud and I went and asked for help. This probably was 13 or 14 years ago. So it wasn't recent, but it was, I still remember that like it was yesterday. We looked in the freezer, both of it. I can see it. I'm standing with the freezer door open, and he's standing over my shoulder, and we're both looking in this freezer. We've looked in it a million times. We know what's in there. One package of meat. That's it. And I'm going to cook this for my family. Pray that the Lord stretches it. And I'm going to embarrass my husband by going to the church and asking for help. And in that moment, we went to the mailbox, and the food stamps were there. And he was embarrassed already to be on public assistance. He was not from a family that was used to that. And he was so thankful that those food stamps came. And we went to the grocery store, and we didn't buy chips and soda pop. We bought meat. And, we didn't know, if the food stamps would be late again. And I shared that to say, even though we were down to our last, we've never been hungry. And the word of God is very clear. It says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. I'm a child of the Most High King. I'm a king's kid. That means I'm never going to be hungry. I may not have gourmet. I may not have steaks. I may not have meat. I'm going to have something. And God's going to take care of me and my kids because we're faithful. In Malachi, it says, bring all of the tithes into the storehouse that there might be meat in my house. And try me in this now, says the Lord, if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you don't have room enough to receive. Y'all, that's my testimony. That's who I am. That's what I live every single day of my life. And people say, why do you give so much to your church? I'm not giving to my church. It just happens to be going to that place because that's where I fellowship. But I'm giving to the Lord because God is giving to me. I wanted to share 2 very specific scriptures, and then I'm going to get off. This was supposed to be a chit-chat and update, and it's becoming a long video, and I don't want that. In Philippians chapter 4, and I'm going to read, I have my Bible here. Chapter 4, verse 4 says, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your graciousness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Don't worry about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses every thought, will guard your heart and minds in Jesus Christ. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any moral excellence, and if there is any praise, dwell on these things. Do what you have learned and received and heard and seen in me and in the God of peace, and the God of peace will be with you. That is Philippians chapter 4, verses 4 through verse 9. I can't worry about it, about the money. I can only thank God for his provision. I can praise him for always taking care of us. I can be thankful for everything he's ever done for me. And then in 2 Corinthians 5 and 7, this was the last verse I wanted to share. The kids just came in. They went out to take the puppy for a walk. 1 Corinthians 5:7 says, for we walk by faith and not by sight. If I walk by sight, which is what is on my budget sheet, I'm always going to have this anxiety, this angst, this, oh my God, this stress. Like, what? Where is it going to come from? Is it going to come through? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Or I can walk by faith knowing that Jesus is the provider. He always provides for me. He always will provide for me. He's always provided for me. And let me tell you how God is. So yesterday, I had an optometrist appointment. I had to go and get my eyes checked. Just annual appointment I always go to. I needed, there's a test that they do where they look further in the back of your eyes, and it was $39. I didn't have the extra $39. So I didn't get the test done. So I said, don't worry, just, do whatever you need to do, how we normally do it. Doesn't matter to me. The doctor came in and she did some stuff in my eye, and she looked at some things, and I have some changes in there, so I have to go back and have some tests done. And I was telling her about a couple of one episode that happened, one thing that happened, but it happened twice in the same day with my eyes. And she was like, okay, I don't really like what you're saying, so let's go and have a test done. So on top of the doctor's visits that I have already in the budget, I have another doctor's visit that I have to pay for on Monday. And that wasn't in the budget because I was done with doctor's visits. I knew all the visits I needed to have. And it's a test I've never had done before. It's just in my doctor's office. It's no big problem. So I'll go in on Monday. And so I was sitting in my chair, this chair right here, says the blogger's corner. And then it's actually becoming my second prayer space, study space. The Lord prompted me. He said, look at your colonial life policy book. So I'd already packed that stuff up. I put it in the file cabinet. So I get it out and I'm going through, because it's a supplemental insurance that I carry that I pay for every single month. If you get certain procedures, depending on what policy you have, they'll pay you a benefit for that procedure. So I'm just going through and I'm not seeing anything that looks like nothing that I could use. And God said, no, keep looking. So I'm flipping pages and I'm looking in the index. I'm like, oh, okay, go here, go here, go here. And I start going down this list, and on my sheet is the exact test that I have to have done on Monday that carries a benefit with it. And I'm not sure if it's a $500 benefit or a $1,000 benefit, but whatever it is, when I get back from that test on Monday, I'm filing me a benefit. I'm filing a claim for something. So how is it that within a matter of an hour, I'm finding out I need to have another test that I didn't plan on having for a problem that I didn't know was there, for another follow-up that I have to go back for in 2 months, and there's a potential benefit that's going to go with this. I'm going to call them on Monday and say, hey, I'm having this test done. Talk to me about this benefit and how much is it going to be? And normally from that company, it takes about 3 to 5 business days. And I have a check in hand. No questions asked. I just fill out my paperwork. I file my claim online. I'm done. That money comes in just like that. But God is extra. You have that extra friend. You have an extra friend. But God is so extra. Remember, I was going through my budget and I didn't count any kids' money, because I don't count in kids' money. Because for the past, I would say, the past 2 years, maybe even 3 years, in July, I get a phone call from the dad, and he says, I have to tell you something. I'm not working anymore. Past 2 years, 3 years, maybe even longer. And I'm stuck like, really? Really? Didn't happen today. Today is July 1st. And with kids' money, I never since he moved to the new job, which we've, had some, it's been some shaky times, get kids' money the first week of the month. Never. It's always around the second Saturday and then like the fourth Saturday. I was in the bed. My phone dinged. I knew my deposit from my summer share was going into my account. I look on my phone and there's a kid's deposit. That never happens. The kids and I are going somewhere today. We have to go to a church thing. I didn't have the money for it. A friend of mine called me yesterday. She needed me to order something for her. She's an elderly lady. She doesn't do a lot of online ordering. So I went online, ordered her something. I had like $60 in my checking account. That was all I had. So I said, okay, I'm going to come over and pick up the money. Normally, I'll just go ahead and order it for her, and then she'll just give me the money back later. So I said, I don't really have the money right now, but I'm going to come pick it up, and then I'll just deposit it into my account, because you have to pay online using PayPal, which is directly attached to my bank. So I go over, I tell her the price ahead. I send her the picture of the price so she would be prepared. It was only like $25. I mean, it wasn't anything deep. And I says, okay, I'm bringing the money over. I'm going to come over and pick up the kids, and I'll get the money. So she normally she'll give me a check. Yesterday she gave me cash, $25. Because if I go to the ATM machine, I can only get out $20 increments. So I paid for her online order out of the $60 I had in my account for $22 and some change, whatever it was. I had the $25 in hand, and I was like, okay, we're going to use this for the thing we have to go to, and we actually have to be there in 2 hours, so I had to wrap this up. I said, I'm going to use this for the thing we have to use it for, and we're going to move. This morning we get kids deposit. We have a birthday party to go to. 2 little girls, 2 sweet little girls. And I'm like, Lord, I'm going to do $10 a piece. I'm almost positive that God's going to let us come out of there with more than we plan to get for less than we plan to spend. So I'm sharing this to say thank you for praying for us. Don't feel sorry. Don't feel prompted to do anything on our behalf. Prayer is what's going to get us through. Rebecca, I want to say this to you very specifically. Thank you. I don't know why. I don't know how. But I feel very connected to you in the spirit. Always have. Since the very first time you've ever commented on a video. And it's a few people that I feel very connected with in the spirit. I like to connect with all of my YouTube family, but I feel connected spiritually. So you're saying what you said. You're going to light a candle for us. Thank you. We appreciate it. It means so much to me that people care enough to pray about my situation. For people care enough to send a kind word. We're thinking about you. I'm praying for you. But know one thing. My kids and I are going to be okay. We're already okay. I woke up this morning with more peace in my heart than I've had in a long time. And it didn't have anything to do with the kids' deposit or my summer deposit or nothing other than knowing who I am in the Lord and knowing that God is going to take care of me. I wanted to come on here and share that with you all. I wanted you all to be encouraged in the Lord. I wanted you to know that God cares about your situation. He cares about my situation, but He cares about your situation too. And it's all going to work out so that it's going to be good for us. He works all things for the good. All of them. Everything. Lean months, rich months. Paul said, I've learned how to be abound, and I've learned how to be abased. I've learned how to be content in the season that I'm in. And so what I'm sharing with you is this. The season that I'm in is a season of contentment with the Lord and who He is in my life and who He says I am in this life. For however much life I have to live, I am content in the Lord. I am thankful for God and His provision. But more than that, I'm thankful for Himself and who He is to me. So I wanted to share that update with you. I wanted to thank you so much for your prayers. Be looking for a budget update video that's coming out next week because we have to get us through this week. Know that we're going to be okay. So my kids and I are doing amazing. We are doing amazing here more than what the numbers look like. Walk by faith and not by sight. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.